And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at the second edition of Intrigue. Now, I've already done a review of the original Dominion second edition, and I've also already done a review of Intrigue. Intrigue is an expansion to Dominion. It was originally a standalone expansion. It is no longer that. And in this Intrigue, they took out 6 of the cards from the original Intrigue game and added 7 new ones. They've also cleaned up some text and just made the cards look a little better overall. You do not need to buy this complete new second edition. You can buy an upgrade pack that has the cards if you just want the new cards. So we're going to take a look at what's in this set, the stuff that's in, the stuff that's out. Here we go. So the game comes in a box, and the biggest difference here between this and the original Intrigue is there's no money cards. You see there's actually spots for them. So if you are buying Dominion Intrigue as your first set of Dominion, which I don't really recommend, but you could do it, you can buy the money pack of cards and you could have a whole set of games. Now, like I said, you can buy this as an upgrade kit. So we're basically going to concentrate on some of the changes cosmetically of the cards and what cards are in and which ones are out. So which one is new? Well, that would be the one on the right here. You can see basically that the text is bigger. The pictures are pretty much the same, just the text is bigger, and it changes the word like his hand to their hand. So that's basically it. Well, over here, the one on the right is the old one, and here's the new one. And you can tell they just made the text bigger and clearer. All right, so now let's talk about cards they got rid of. Yeah! Everyone hates the Saboteur. I am so glad to see the Saboteur gone. This was a card that just killed cards that other people had collected that were large. No one liked that one. The other cards I have mixed feelings on. The Tribute was an interesting card, but it was just kind of complicated. You make someone else discard some cards, and then depending on what it was, you got stuff. It was neat. The Secret Chamber is on its way out too. So when someone does an attack card, you draw 2 cards and put 2 cards on top of your deck. The Scout was a neat sounding card that just I never really saw get played much. The Great Hall I actually like, but there's a reason they pulled that, because they made a more efficient version of the Great Hall. And the Coppersmith is another card that I really enjoyed, where Copper produces an extra 1 in this turn. I know that whole decks have to be kind of centered on Coppersmith, but regardless of whether they got rid of it or not, I'm definitely keeping mine. All right, let's take a look at the cards they added. First, we have Patrol. So Patrol gives you +3, and then you reveal the top 4 and put the victory cards and curses into your hand, and the rest go back in any order. So that's interesting. It's a way to get lots of cards in your hand and also kind of have a clean hand for next time. The Mill is the replacement for the Great Hall. You can see that they're essentially the same. They're both victory points, both give +1 card, +1 action, but this one lets you discard 2 cards for +2. So again, I don't really see why this was changed, but it is a new card. I'll probably keep the Great Hall both. But now, let's start talking about cards I like, because they added 7 cards, and 5 of them I really enjoy. The first is the Lurker. This one lets you trash an action card from the supply, or gain an action card from the trash. Now that's pretty cool. You can trash some pretty heavy, highly costful action cards, and then later on pick them up. Of course, other people have Lurkers too. So that's an intriguing thing. I don't know if the Lurker lets you, if you throne room it, if you can trash the card and then pick it up instantly, but that's an interesting thing. And I always like cards that let you choose things. The Secret Passage, +2 cards, +1 action. Take a card from your hand and put it anywhere in your deck. Now I'm going to probably need someone in the comments to explain to me why you wouldn't put it on top of your deck, but I guess there's probably some reason for that. Maybe you know what the card is on top of your deck, so you want to put it the second card down. But when I've seen these played, mostly people put them on top of your deck. But still, really neat. And then the Diplomat. So here's a new reaction card where you get +2 cards. And if you have 5 or less, you also get +2 actions. Well, that's neat. But when another person plays an attack card, you reveal this from a hand of 5 or more cards to draw 2 cards, then discard 3. So it's a really intriguing, weird one. I don't know that I love the Diplomat. I do like the artwork. It's just kind of an odd card. But it's still, I do like the top part of it, which is why I said I really enjoy the card. Now, my 2 favorite cards. Courtier, here, reveal a card from your hand. For each type it has, you can choose one. +1 action, that's good. +1 buy, +3, what? Or gain a gold, what? The choices must be different. So if I reveal a card from my hand and it's this card here, which is 2 different actions, I'm going to take 2, which is going to be the +3 and gain a gold. All right, almost always. And you never know, though, and it gives you those options. And there's even a few cards that have 3 different things, and I think there's one that has 4, which will let you use all of them. Neat. Love this card. And I also like to replace. This is the kind of attack that I like in Dominion, where you trash a card from your hand, get a card that costs 2 more. All right, great. But if the card that you get is an action or a treasure card, you put it on your deck, and if it's a victory card, everyone else gets a curse. That I like. Giving other people curses is not a horrible thing, but annoying enough, and it's something useful for yourself too, unlike the Saboteur, which was kind of useful for you, but mostly just hurt other players. So that's a look at the new cards in this set. Okay, they changed the rule books because the original rule book for Intrigue was fine, but the new one has a way to mix with all the sets, because each of the sets would say, here's how you mix this with Dominion, here's how you mix it with Intrigue. Well, they changed the cards, so they changed the lists here. They also changed the cover. Now, I was never a huge fan of the original Intrigue cover, but the new one, is that a punk rocker who's joining the King's Court? That guy's like an anachronism. I'm not sure what's going on there. But whatever. The cards themselves, I actually like the upgraded, I like the Dominion Intrigue 2nd edition more than the first. Now, first of all, excuse me, but that is my happy dance because Saboteur is gone. Yeah! I hate Saboteur. Hate Swindler too. I should get rid of Swindler too, but whatever. Saboteur was the worst. So that's great. But the other cards that they got rid of, in my personal collection, I'm keeping most of them. I might have got rid of a couple, but I'm keeping most of them because, hey, I keep the old cards and the new cards. That's good for me. And I know that, Mr. Baccarino online will tell you why you need to keep them for whatever, get rid of these and increase the others, but I don't care. I'm just going to keep everything. I really like the new cards. I think they add some fun flavor to the game, and I really, some of them are kind of like upgraded versions of the other cards, and that's fine. But it's neat. I know that there's sometimes this metagame of Dominion, not necessarily a metagame, but the people online who play it thousands and thousands and thousands of times know the ins and outs of every card. I don't. So, the Coppersmith, I'm sure it wasn't that great of a card, but it could be. And I'm always still kind of a fan of cards that could be great, while so many of the cards here are like, they're always good. Well, that's fine. I like cards that are always good, but sometimes I want a card that's not always good, but sometimes amazing. So it feels like they kind of like are trying to get rid of those cards and get cards that are more solidly useful, which I think more people will like. Do you need to get this? No. Do you need the upgrade pack? If you like Dominion, you will. It's kind of like a new expansion between this and the Dominion 2nd edition. That's 14 new cards. That's more than a small expansion. So that's neat that that's all included. And other than the cover artwork, the whole thing has a much nicer, cleaner look to it. I like how they fixed the text on these cards just to make them easier to read. So definitely thumbs up for me. Dice Tower Judgment into my collection.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Pane ukskimni.